for thank you for coming today, or if you know get a chance to watch this webinar. My name is Tamika Sitches Spruce, and I am the lead ed director. And so we get into all things about lead in. You'll get to meet the other team members shortly. So thank you again for coming to the lead in program informational session. So today, or far as our program staff, we have Agent A. Thomas. Um, and then she's the director of programs. Then you have myself again as the lead in director. And we have Felice. I'll let you introduce yourself, and Priscilla.
Hi everyone, my name is Felice Turner. I am a disability specialist here at MDRC and for the lead-in program. I identify as a Black woman with a disability, and I have been with MDRC and the lead-in program for approximately a year and a half now. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Priscilla Cano. I am the bilingual disability advocate, and I identify as a Latina woman or Latinx woman. And I have been here at MDRC for a year and a half as well.
Yes, so that is our team. So if you have questions for us, please, you can put them in the chat or unmute to raise your hand anytime throughout the presentation. And also, if you would like to, please add your preferred pronouns to your name so this can help our chat moderator. We usually, for our other programs that we have, trainees, we post them on Facebook and YouTube afterwards, but we don't have ASL interpreter or live captioning currently, but um, you can click on the transcribe and see the closed captions at the bottom of the screen. So we do have that feature turned on, just not ASL interpreting. And afterwards, I will send the slide and a link to recording to those who have registered. And also, we can do visual descriptions as well throughout the presentation. So there is a picture here to the right of a cartoon of a woman signing hello. Michigan Disability Rights Coalition has been around for 43 years as a statewide nonprofit. Throughout the years, we served the disability community throughout the state of Michigan. We collaborate with different groups um, committed to building inclusive communities. It's our mission to cultivate disability pride and strengthen the disability movement by recognizing disability as a natural and beautiful part of human diversity while collaborating to dismantle all forms of oppression. And so, again, it goes back to that we collaborate with other nonprofits to do this. And again, I really want to emphasize that we don't see disability as a bad word or as a bad thing, but it's just part of being human. And then there's our name, Michigan Disability Rights Coalition, in a brown square box to the right. Our vision is we envision a world where people with disabilities can do a couple of things. Uh, it's not limited to this, but this is the one that we focused on. But to live full lives within a community with equal rights, equity, and opportunities. We value um, as essential and vital members of community. We can be our full selves in all their identities and aspects of their lives. And so, with that being said, we know disability, it covers all different, types of identities, racial groups, sexual orientations, and such. So when we advocate, we, recognize and advocate on those issues as well. And we want to create a place, a space for self discovery, to cultivate community, and to develop pride. There is a picture of a black woman sitting in a red wheelchair. What we focus on is disability justice infrastructure. So, disability justice, we go into that more within the cohort and within just our programming. But essentially, disability justice is a movement where when we advocate on the various issues of people with disabilities, but then also people of color with disabilities, the LGBTQ community. We advocate alongside that and others. So when we advocate, we don't like to leave anybody behind. Um, Also, we have done work in any violence, racial equity, increasing tech access, cultivating leaders. During COVID, we worked on that, and also any social isolation. We provide training, resources, and services to individuals, families, parents, children, professionals, and organizations. And this is to the right a picture of a man in a wheelchair. So, so the programs that we offer here at MDRC is a program called LEAD, which is Leadership, Engagement, Advocacy, Development. Um, that is a program where we work with nonprofit, I'm sorry, work with parents, BIPOC parents, and adults with developmental disabilities or leadership skills. There we do also leaders for inclusion, that's for young adults with disabilities 18 to 26. Then we have Her Power, which is a summer camp for girls, teenage girls with disabilities. And we also have the Michigan Assistive Technology Program that is for we load assistive technology devices out to people to help them with what they need. And there's a picture to the left of a black young man signing. This program is leadership engagement and advocacy development inclusion network. So this lead in is a program that creates a community of practice that includes supporting organizations across Michigan to become more inclusive of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And so um, this is why you're here, and we'll go more about it later on in the presentation. And our funding is supported by the Michigan Developmental Disability Council. Our agenda today is we're going to talk about some of the barriers in the workplace and community so you will know some of the issues that disabled people face and how your organization fits into that. Uh, the benefits of the lead-in program, program details, selection process, how to apply, program timeline, and questions. I'll turn it to Priscilla to talk about barriers in employment.
Okay, so some barriers in employment. So challenges people with disabilities face in the workplace. It's ableism and discrimination, public benefit disincentives, sub-minimum wage, barriers to competitive integrated employment, inadequate paid leave and paid sick policies are among the numerous barriers to employment disabled people face. Other employment barriers are the lack of promotions or opportunities, limited hours or job tasks, not hiring, lack of accommodations, inaccessible job postings, or unwelcoming work culture. It's a lot of job postings can be done in PDF style, which is often inaccessible, which is something we learned about, or I learned about recently. Lack of accommodations, so lack of not knowing what accommodations can be asked for, or employers not knowing what accommodations they should provide. So those are some barriers. Barriers in finances and economics. So healthcare linked to employment, SSI benefits, the marriage penalty, and higher unemployment. This photo is a digital illustration of a large group of disabled people of different ethnicities, ages, and genders. Among the crowds are service and emotional support animals. There are two smaller protest signs that read, "I shouldn't lose benefits when I get married," and "ban sub-minimum wage," with the main sign reads, "Disabled people are experts of their own lives and know what they need." Financial challenges snapshot. So in 2021, 22% of people with disabilities had extremely low incomes. The average median income for a household with a disabled member was 42,736 compared to 75,000 for household without a disabled member. The 4.1 million people with disabilities aged 18 to 64 who receive supplemental security income or SSI cannot afford an apartment in any housing market in the United States. And the picture is a Black woman holding a sign saying housing is a human right. So I will turn it back to Tamika.
There are barriers in receiving services. So there's a picture variety of people, cartoon picture was to the right. So some of the healthcare services that disabled people experience is maternal health. There's a huge prevalence of that. Approximately 12% of reproductive age women have physical, sensory, or intellectual disability. Um, there's probably even what is higher when you factor in chronic conditions as well, like lupus, multiple sclerosis, and such. Um, then the pregnancy rates among women with disabilities have grown in recent years and are similar to those of women without disability, same age and income groups. Maternal mental health. Women with disabilities are twice as likely to experience maternal mental health conditions such as depression, anxiety, compared to women without disabilities. And that's due to various, factors of how I'm going to, what people are going to be thinking of me, stigma, those type of things that can increase that depression, anxiety. And there's a woman in a wheelchair, pregnant, on the right side. Of severe maternal mortality, women with disabilities have a significant higher risk of that during delivery compared to those without disabilities, with the magnitude of risk varying by disability type. So many times women with disabilities are considered high risk. So that you're being seen and taken care of a little bit more than other women, but because of the risk is sometimes higher. And then when it comes to education and employment, youth education and employment, about 7% of U.S. children aged 3 to 17 have a disability, which includes physical, cognitive, sensory, and mental health disabilities. This is approximately 4.3 million children. So, there's a lot of kids with disabilities. Um, and the employment rate, about 30% of youth with disabilities aged 16 to 24 are employed, but compared to 55% of those without disabilities. And that's due to, many factors, lack of opportunity, transportation, you know, bias, discrimination. So they don't always have the same opportunities as young adults without disabilities. So this creates a higher unemployment rate than their non-disabled peers. And there's a picture of some young people, um, some with disabilities, are laughing and joking in the picture. Education services. There's a disproportionate representation of youth of color, especially Black boys, are more likely to be identified with emotional and behavioral disabilities, whether the intellectual and learning disabilities, which can limit their access to appropriate support. So that is something I definitely see in my research. Also, Black students with disabilities are three times more likely to be suspended or expelled compared to white students with disabilities. And then the school to prison pipeline, that Black and Indigenous youth with disabilities have a higher risk of arrest at school due to zero tolerance policies. I know there's been some programs are trying to, not do the zero tolerance. but it seems like it's could be, kind of being pushed back towards that direction. Um, there is in the picture black children smiling. Um, Safety with, housing, and all these things are, related to each other, our issues like communities of color, any marginalized group, it intersects with one another. But as far as with housing, the prevalence of disabilities, approximately 12% of U.S. residents aged 15 and older live with a disability, equating to about 39 million people across 32 million households. Household accessibility, less than 5% of housing nationwide is accessible for individuals with moderate mobility difficulties. Less than 1% is accessible for wheelchair users. I am a wheelchair user and I can attest that that is very much of a problem, when it comes to finding accessible apartment units and also houses. Um, Nearly 2 in 10 households, U.S. households include a person with accessibility needs. However, almost 4 in 10 of these households lack essential accessibility features such as ramps, lifts, or full bathroom on an entry level where on the first floor. Also, as a problem that I found out is comes to bathroom doors, especially for those who use wheelchair. You can't always close it behind you. So that's another accessible accessibility feature that many wheelchairs users have to go through. It says a picture at the bottom. We need affordable, accessible housing. Food services. So studies have consistently shown that households with adults with disabilities experience significantly higher rates of food insecurity compared to households without disabilities. In 2023, households with adults with disabilities had food insecurity prevalence rate of 28.3 without, while households without adults with disabilities had a rate of 10.5. So, you would think that, oh, how can people with disabilities be food insecure? But that's because the difficulty of affording food can be an issue, especially like healthy foods. If they live in places where there's a food desert, um, it could be hard to get there, but then also get access to healthy type of food or the food that that they need if they like lactose intolerant or those type of things. Challenging for people with disabilities to access food assistance programs. So if you need a car, to get to the grocery store, to get to um, the food banks and stuff, and you can't drive, then you won't be able to get to them. And the challenges with grocery shopping and food delivery. Um, Again, having a car to go to grocery shop. You know, if you can't drive, then you gotta have assistance. But what if you don't have any, family nearby or friends? So it could be difficult. And then you got DoorDash or Instacart, but sometimes that could be expensive too. So those are some of the barriers and contributing factors of food insecurity. There's a picture to the right of a child holding a fork and a knife on a plate. So I'm going to get into a little bit of the lead in program benefits. It's a picture of various people, young people, one with a disability or use a wheelchair, smiling. Lead-In works with service providing organizations. So that is nonprofit, charities, housing, food banks, healthcare, education, libraries, professional services, and others that serve the community. And we're going to select 4 organizations to do this, to work with this year. Okay, so our cohort is a community of practice. So when it comes to community of practice, it's a group of people coming together to learn how to implement a certain issue. So the community of practice consists of leadership staff from the selected service provider organizations. So we want people to be either be CEO, HR, directors, programmers, directors, managers, or lead staff. It's important for us to have that buy-in from the top because then it's easier to implement the disability inclusion goals that you will have. Each organization should commit at least 4 staff members. The impact of lead in is we work with you on 3 categories. That's inclusive workplace culture. So we help you analyze that, think about that, think about the disability inclusion, the barriers when it comes to your workplace culture. Also, how to implement inclusive practices and policies. So how can you implement that within your organization? So we take a look at that. Also, how to be, how to have more, provide more access and accommodations to people with disabilities when it comes to your services. And so, like an example of that will be how to make your social media posts more accessible, how to make your meetings and conferences more accessible. We help you think through that process. The goals of lead in is to provide organizations with the tools needed to create changes within the organization. Also to implement disability justice in the workplace. That again, you can see that a lot. Disability justice, inclusion of disabled employees and communities served with an emphasis on marginalized communities and underserved populations. We will provide professional development skills within the area of disability inclusion for all staff. So we do provide an opportunity for all your staff to understand and learn disability inclusion more, and then to build community allyship with the disability community and the organizations. I'll hand it to Felice to continue on.
Right. So we are going to talk a little bit about lead-in program details. The photo in the corner is three people sitting at a desk. One person is in a wheelchair. They all look to be working on a project. Okay, so our program overview. So Lead In is a year-long program. We will begin with 4 full-day in-person sessions. Those will happen twice a week. So we'll start off with 2 sessions, and then the following week we will have 2 more in-person sessions. Following our in-person sessions, there will be 4 2-hour virtual sessions that occur once a week. Both the in-person sessions and the virtual sessions will happen with all members of the cohort, and we'll be starting this off in August. Okay, so topics to be covered. We are going to be talking about understanding disability, so really giving an introduction to disability, what disability is, talk about some of the issues that were discussed earlier in the snapshots and the barriers. Then we will move on to intersectionality, disability identity. We'll talk about disability as an identity and how it intersects with some of our other identities, such as race, gender, class, geographic location. Just really talking about how disability intersects and interacts with our other identities. We will be talking about accessibility and accommodations. Again, what accessibility looks like for people with disabilities and the varying types of accessibility that is out there for people with varying disabilities. And again, that also plays into the accommodations conversation a little bit. We will be talking about what accommodations in the workplace, what that looks like for employees with disabilities, what employers need to do and what leadership should do in order to help their employees with disabilities in receiving their accommodations. Again, Tamika mentioned it earlier, we're going to be talking a lot about disability justice, what disability justice is, the founders of disability justice, what disability justice looks like on a community standpoint, as well as what it looks like from a workplace standpoint. We'll also be talking about disability rights. We'll be talking about the difference between disability justice and disability rights and the history of the disability rights movement. We will also be talking about things like workplace inclusion. Again, kind of aligning with the disability justice conversation, we'll talk about how to implement inclusive workplace practices for people with disabilities, as well as how workplace inclusion functions for people with disabilities who may belong to other marginalized communities as well. And we will also be talking a lot about allyship, how employers or employees who don't identify as having a disability or a person with disability, how they can serve as allies to to their employees, to their peers, and how all of this, what's the word I'm looking for? How all of this connects to being allies for the greater community. And I'm sorry, the photo, there was no photo before, so never mind. Okay, we are going to be getting into some technical assistance. So with our technical assistance, your organization will have one-on-one consultations with us, the lead-in team. These one-on-one consultations will start off once a month to discuss disability inclusion plan and action steps. So we will be starting our one-on-one consultations sometime after the virtual sessions, and then towards the moving more so towards the end of the cohort, we will also include um, the other members of the cohort in having these monthly consultations, but they will be community consultations where it won't just be us, the lead team. It will be the other cohort members, and for you all to kind of examine what your other cohort members have been, the ways they've been implementing disability inclusion and disability justice in the workplace since the in-person meetings. In the photo at the bottom, are three people sitting at a desk. One is holding a coffee mug, and it looks like they are in conversation. Okay. So workplace culture, staff training sessions. We will have staff training sessions on disability topics like disability awareness and belonging, disrupting ableism, disability justice in the workplace, intersectionality, and cultural humility. You all will work with us as a team to to decide on a schedule of when we will be meeting with your staff. These trainings, I believe we can do in-person trainings, but in the past, the majority of our staff trainings have been virtual. So again, you will work with us to set up your staff trainings, and um, usually they're about an hour and a half, and we will go over these topics to make sure that your staff is fully trained as well. The picture at the bottom is of a group of individuals sitting at the table. It looks like they are also talking to a group virtually. They all have laptops and other work materials in front of them. Okay. And inclusive policies and practices audit. So we will also set your organization up with a human resources consultant who will do an audit of your workplace policies, practices, your job descriptions, and any other materials that your organization has that pertain to workplace policies. They will go over those practices and policies, those materials, and they will provide feedback to you, ways to implement disability inclusion policies if they see that there's a need for it. The photo in the corner is of a group of individuals. It's a caricature. All of them seem to have work clothes on, and one person is in a wheelchair. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about access and accommodations. So, in the program, you will receive training from expert guest speakers. This usually happens during our four virtual sessions. They will provide training on accessibility and in virtual and physical spaces. They will also train your organization on providing accommodations across all types of disabilities. So again, this will happen during our virtual sessions. I believe we have three or four guest speakers coming in to talk to your organizations. The photo in the corner is of different accessibility signs, and the word accessibility is in the middle. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about being a community of practice. So organizations will be joining our previous cohort, so cohort one, to create an active and engaging community of practice. Leading will facilitate these meetings to bring the groups together and to support each other in achieving their inclusion goals. So you being not being the first cohort, being the second cohort coming in, will have the benefit of working with the previous cohort, understanding the process that they went through in implementing disability justice into their organizations. You will also have the benefit of understanding what practices didn't work for them and what practices they continue to stick to. And again, we will facilitate these meetings for you. We will set aside time in the schedule for all of the cohort members to meet. But it is a really good advantage to be able to sit and see those who become before you, and it helps you kind of navigate where you would like to go in your journey. The photo at the bottom is of a group of individuals sitting at a table. It looks like they're in the middle of a virtual work session. Okay, so again, benefits of community of practice. We just talked about this. So knowledge sharing and learning. So encouraging peer-to-peer learning through shared experiences. Again, talking to each other, seeing what's worked and what hasn't, provides access to collective wisdom, best practices, and lessons learned. Collaboration and networking. So strengthening professional relationships across different sectors. So here at MDRC, we are really big on coalition building. So coalition building and building your networks. So part of the community of practice is understanding that if there is someone who is working in a different sector than your organization, but they have the knowledge and the tools that you need, that through this cohort, having that relationship, then you would have the benefit to strengthen your skill set and your knowledge, because you have access to those organizations as well. And again, creates opportunities for partnership, mentorship, and support. You also have the mentorship and the support of us as a lead-in team and MDRC. Um, we will be able to provide you with continued support post cohort. The photo in the corner is of a group of individuals. A few of them are standing around, some are sitting. It looks like they are in conversation. It looks like one Black female and three Black males. Okay, and benefits of community of practice continued. So innovation and problem solving, fostering creative solutions through diverse perspectives. Again, understanding that if someone is working in a sector that you don't necessarily work in and don't have that skill set, that you always have access to someone who can be of assistance to you. And help members tackle common challenges more effectively. So again, just having that support for small issues as well as large issues. Okay. Um, right. So professional and personal development. So we are enhancing leadership, communication, and technical skills. That is a huge benefit of joining the community of practice. And also providing access to training, workshops, and expert insights. So again, all of the trainings that we are going to do, you will have access to all of the training, all of the workshops, all of those insights throughout the cohort and after. Sustainability and long-term impact ensures that knowledge is preserved and passed on. And we're strengthening organizations and communities through continued engagement. We emphasize a lot about strengthening your organization from the inside, but we also, the point of strengthening your organization from the inside is so that then you can, support your community to be more disability aware and disability inclusive as well. The photo in the corner says belonging, inclusion, diversity, and equity. It is a person holding blocks with those words on them. Okay. Each cohort organization that joins will receive a stipend of $3,000 for active participation, and a $1,000 stipend for access and accommodation implementation. So the 3,000 is for attending the cohort and attending the virtual sessions. The $1,000 is for your organization to use towards any type of accommodation or technical assistance implementations that you would like to put towards your organization. The photo in the corner is a caricature. It's a white piece of paper with a dollar sign in the corner and a check mark at the very right at the top of the right hand corner. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how to apply. Okay, so first, you would need to fill out an interest form. And if you give me one quick moment, I am going to put the interest form in the chat. Okay, so in the chat, I have the interest form for you all. If you're interested in applying for the lead-in program or joining the lead-in program, we ask that you fill out that form. Once you filled out the form and submitted it, we will schedule a meeting with your organization to find out if you are a fit. Okay, and here's a look at the calendar for the cohort. So again, we are starting off in August. So our full day sessions start off August 19th and August 20th. Then they continue the following week on August 27th and August 28th. I told you that we are going to be having virtual sessions following our full day in-person sessions. And those sessions, again, are 2 hours and they will occur starting in September and continue through October. Once again, we have those monthly consultations. So starting off with the team. So those are considered our one-on-ones where it's just the members of the cohort along with the members of the lead-in team. The members of your specific organization along with the members of the lead-in team, and we will get updates. We'll work on your goals. We'll talk about where you are and where you would like to go. And then we will, towards the end of the cohort, you will move on to having those community of practice meetings with the other members of the cohort along with the team. We'll all gather back up virtually to so you can kind of understand where they've been since the in-person meetings and virtual sessions, kind of pick their brains on any questions that you have, any issues that you're having with implementing certain policies or anything that you want to change about your organization or anything that you would like to do, you can kind of pick their brain. And that will happen starting October 2025 and go through August 2026 of the following year. And then at the very, very end, I believe even once after you've met with cohort one, and again, we will set up those meetings with cohort one as well, so you have the opportunity to talk and discuss and network with them. But we will end with quarterly meetings, and I believe we even have focus group that would ask you to participate in just to kind of get your feedback on the program, to help us understand, how we did over the course of the year and what we can do better for the next group. All right, and that is it for us. Are there questions, comments?
I have a question. My name is Hannah Parrish. I work for Lake Superior State University in the Upper Peninsula. I joined this session because I'm trying to share out resources to our community and help them be like key stakeholders be aware of programs like this to improve disability access, not just at the university level, but, for people living in our community. And I'm trying to wrap my mind around what the ideal candidate for this program would look like. I know on one side you mentioned like libraries, and I don't know, can you speak a little bit more to who you're hoping will apply for this program?
Yes. So, the ideal candidate would be like a nonprofit organization. Um, and yeah, so like any nonprofit organization, that's the better fit. Also, an organization where the CEO or the COO, in addition to um, like a program director, HR, someone from the senior leadership, can also attend. So, as we're talking about inclusion goals, that it can be effectively implemented when it comes from the um, the top. So some of the organizations that was in our previous cohort was New Detroit, which is a organization in Detroit, and they are like a racial equity, racial justice type of organization. Also, we had Lighthouse. They was in Oakland County, and they dealt with housing and food insecurity. And then the other was Michigan Roundtable, which is a racial justice organization. So so it's anything like a non-profit that serves families, youth, people that would be ideal. And also any type of organizations, even if they deal with like sometimes some organizations deal with other businesses. I think it's called like business to business type of, you know, uh structure. So even if they work with, other nonprofits, that's their primary clientele, we could work with them as well. But I would say overall, nonprofits are the best fit for us.
Sorry, I guess I should have prefaced this with my question. We do not have a lot of infrastructure in terms of organized nonprofits in the Upper Peninsula. Um, but we are desperate for these types of programs and support. Um, even though we don't have the traditional nonprofit that you may think of as terms of a structure, a board, a director, an HR person, like you said, is there any room for more community-based organizations or smaller organizations that could potentially still apply? And
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Service organizations, community organizations. Yeah, so, it don't have to be like the mid-size or large nonprofits. I know uh, New Detroit was like it's a really small, nonprofit. So, yeah, it could definitely be a community organizations. Even like if there is like healthcare type of organizations, those type of things as well. But not saying not so much like libraries or, big corporations. That's not really our uh, audience, but organizations, big and small. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, no problem.
Went ahead and put the interest form in the chat. So, if you're interested, feel free to just fill out the interest form. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out. Priscilla, can you put the last slide up? Thanks. So that's all of our information. That's our lead in website. I'll put that in the chat here. Our lead in email, excuse me. Um, we also have our MDRC website. If you are interested if you're interested in our program beyond the cohort, we also have public trainings that are free and open to the public. Feel free to visit our Eventbrite page. Feel free to visit our Eventbrite page for those trainings. I'll put that in the chat as well. We also have a YouTube channel and we have an Instagram if you would like to see any of our public trainings. And that is across MDRC. We have two other leadership programs, LFI and LEAD, that you can also check out our public trainings or our upcoming events. But for this cohort, again, feel free to fill out the interest form and if selected for an interview, someone from the team will reach out to you. Um, so that's it for me on this end. Tamika, do you have anything that you want to add?
Um, no, definitely. I will send out this presentation in addition to the interest form and flyer as well. So if you know anyone else that would be might be possibly a good fit, please, share this presentation and share our information.
I
Thank you.
think that's it for us. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just said thanks. I'll share the information.
Well, thank you
Yes,
so much for joining us. And I believe that's all we have for you today. So
Have a good day.
thank you. You
you
too.
too. Okay, stay for a minute to the recording.